I'm spaced out. Sneaky Joey. Good morning and welcome to Good morning, I'm Sharaad Kuttan. Welcome to BFM's Morning Headlines, where we look at the front pages and try to discern what the agenda is and who's setting it. Now, the new Straits Times has on its front page that continuing story about the killing of the Jabatan Agama Islam Pahang enforcement chief. And this story, it really is about the man who's now been fingered for the crime, though it's not been proven. And what it does is it suggests that he has this background. It's quite interesting. A man with a very colorful and criminal background. But I don't think this is the main story for the NST, because yesterday in court, they apologized for a defamatory article they published in September of last year. That hasn't made it anywhere in the news item. So they have agreed to run a piece that reads, NST apologizes to Bersih 2.0, Swaram, CIJ, and Merdeka Center for groundless allegations. Now, what were the groundless allegations? Well, in September last year, they published a story and its headline was Plot to Destabilize Government. If you go to the net, you can still find the story and the front page. So it was a full-page front story with graphics suggesting individual organizations, how much they received from this Washington-based organization called the National Endowment for Democracy. But they alleged something. They alleged that this was not simply about funding NGOs, it was about toppling the government. Now they have decided to apologize. What's also interesting, the journalist involved in writing that story is in fact an award-winning journalist. She received 2 awards this year for the Petronas Malaysian Press Institute Awards in the category of Best Reporting and Best Investigative Work. So that can't be very good on her CV. Moving right along, The Sun, and this is a story about an agreement following the polls petition process that we've seen since the general elections. Now, as you might remember, the court threw out most of those petitions and they also awarded heavy costs against the petitioners. This really had a dampening effect on the attempt to use the courts to adjudicate some really important questions of the conduct of our polls. Were they free and fair? Were there violations and such? Now it looks like both sides, the Barisan Nasional and Pakatan government, are going for a settlement. And this will be a settlement that will kind of close the books on the problems of the general elections, which is not a good thing, I think, for public that really is still vexed about the general elections. So, moving right along, we have Berita Harian today, and that man, of course, is the Menteri Besar Selangor. He's under pressure not by the opposition forces in the assembly, but by his own people. Why? Because apparently he's not spending enough money. And a petition was put to him by those assembly people, and they had outlined areas, priority areas, concerns that they had that they wanted funded. Apparently, it's not going to be in next week's budget. That is the Selangor budget, which is to be tabled on Tuesday. So they are up in arms. If you want to read more about that, Berita Harian is the newspaper to go to. The Malay Mail's front page is about the Philippines. I don't think this is a major story, because the major story in the Malay Mail, in fact, is buried on page 10. Remember, we've been talking about the whole news agenda with regard to the call to arm religious enforcement officers? Well, here you have it. In Terengganu, they've already decided to go ahead to arm religious officers. There's a response story here with individuals from the DAP, like Zairil Kejohari, Rafizi Ramli from PKR, all come out saying it's not a good idea. And in fact, the MB of Kedah too thinks it's a bad idea. That's him and Berita Harian saying, bad idea, it's not necessary. But the police are saying that if the request is made, they're not necessarily going to turn it down. So that's worrying. Now, what is the larger context of this? Berita Harian might give us a clue. This is the chairperson of the National Fatwa Enforcement Agency. He's saying that fatwas, which is religious advice, some people think it's an edict, some people think it's a law, it's an order. There's some debate about that. But that these fatwas are not being taken seriously. So the word dipeleke refers to not taking something seriously, dismissing it, and treating it as inconsequential. That, along with this story in Utusan Malaysia, which is about Kelantan and the head of the Sharia court there saying they're ready to go ahead with Hudud, which is the Islamic penal code. Again, there seemed to be something in the air with regard to Islamic law and the pushing of that agenda. In the Star, young and diabetic, that's not me. I'm neither young nor am I diabetic, but if you look at me you might think I'm borderline. I'm not. But anyway, apparently the stats are quite troubling on that, and that's probably why the Star carried it on its front pages. Lastly, for a bit of humour, we have Harian Metro, Romeo turut disungkur. Well, Romeo turut, it's not a funny story, because this is a man who's just basically a molester, and he gets some airplay, some other tragic stories, including this of this rather pretty woman. And Dugaan Janda means the trials and tribulations of a widow. She looks like a very young widow. Business papers, yes, happy business people, that's always good to know. He's very happy, and he's so happy he's playing the saxophone. And the word for the day is dipeleke, which means to not take seriously or to dismiss. Thank you so much for your comments. I look forward to more of them and responding to you as best I can. This has been BFM's Morning Headlines, and thank you for being with me. I'm Sharaad Kuttan, BFM 89.9.